Hey everyone, my name is Rebecca Sokol and I'm the shorts programmer for the Montclair Film Festival. Thank you all for checking out our fiction shorts competition program and thank you for sticking around for our Q&A. I'm very pleased to welcome Jennifer LaFleur, director of Baby Kate.
Hi.
Hi. We have Elegance Bratton, director of Buck.
Hey.
Hello. Jovan James, director of Buck.
Hello.
Deckel Berenson, director of Anna.
Hey.
And Sonia Haddad, director of Exam.
Hi.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us and for sharing your films with us. I want to start out, all of your films do such a beautiful job of setting up your world and your characters the second the film starts. So I would love to hear a little bit about creating the idea for your short and how it became the films that we just saw today. So we'll start with Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. So I am primarily an actor, but I have been really wanting to get into directing as well. And so I decided that to kind of dip my foot in, I would try to create a short film that was very simple, just a few characters, one location, be able to shoot it in one day, just trying to set myself up for success as much as possible. And for the last couple years before the film, I had been trying to get pregnant. And so I was very involved with this fertility group, or multiple groups, just the whole fertility world, and was very immersed in hearing all different kinds of stories and struggles that women were going through and the journeys that they were going through. And I think I just, even though I didn't have the same experience that my character did by any means, I kind of combined a whole bunch of different stories that I had heard, either through people that I knew or people that I interacted with through these groups. And so I was kind of, if anything, maybe like hashing out some of my own issues throughout the process of doing it. But 2 weeks after I wrapped the whole film and locked picture and finished everything, I became pregnant and then had a baby 9 months later, as it turns out.
Now you have a beautiful baby girl.
Yeah, she's right here.
Making her on-screen debut. It's awesome. Elegance and Jovan, do you want to talk a little bit about creating Buck and where that came from?
Yes. So I would say I just wanted to start. This film did start as an examination of depression in the Black gay community. How that affects a young man and how he'll enter the dating world. And so that story started to evolve. As Elegance and I sort of crafted this new story that went much deeper into the psyche of men like this. We also started to do some research into Ed Buck, who is a political donor who lived in West Hollywood, and he had a sexual fetish for drugging vulnerable gay Black men with methamphetamine, and two men died there. And so, we started to, sort of study this story because we saw that it wasn't getting a lot of attention, and we became really passionate about it. And I'll let Elegance go on from there.
Thank you, Jovan. I think to answer your question about the kind of immediacy and urgency of it all, we were very much fascinated with the idea of picking up in the middle of things with the character to try to avoid introductory material and try our very best within the first few seconds of the film to kind of tell you everything you needed to know that would set up the stakes for what was to come later, so that the audience would feel like kind of transported into their skin. Because I think a lot of times for, queer people, Black queer people, very often people think it's just so very different, that our experiences are so foreign to them. So we were just trying to find the best cinematic language to be able to just right off the gate, there's no chance to really ask why, even so much as you're with him, you study him, you feel him, and then you're off from there.
Yeah, you're certainly thrown right on in with him, staring in that mirror with his bottle of pills.
Thank you.
What an introduction, really.
Yeah. And Anna Deckel is, I feel like you're thrown right on in there too with her in that meat locker, and it only goes from there. So where did that idea come from for you?
Don't know specifically where that idea came from, but you're asking a very important question because you're asking specifically about the first shot of a film. And I think it's very important because, first of all, the first shot of a film, it's kind of like a textbook idea, but I think it's really true that you should really encapsulate the entire story, or at least try to, right? So that's one thing that I, try to do in my short films. And the other thing is that the first shot of your film is probably the most important one because there are just so many short films that are being made every year, and you really want to capture the attention of people who watch your film right off the bat, as you say in the States. So yes, so working on the film, it's always what's my first shot, and I guess through the development of the project, it got to be that shot inside the meat refrigerator factory place that ties up kind of like the metaphorical symbol of what the entire film is about, essentially.
Yeah, it's great. And Sonia, how about Exam and this teenage girl that's kind of caught in an awkward situation?
Yes. Firstly, hi from Tehran. So I'm the writer and director of the short film Exam. Exam is a truth-based kind of crime drama, and the story is a mixture of my personal experiences I had at high school and a true story I had heard it from one of my friends. So I mixed these two, and with the help of my co-writer, we wrote the script. Yes.
I feel like the best things always come from real life.
Yes.
Watching all these films back, I was so drawn to all of the actors that you had in your film as well, including yourself, Jennifer. But a lot of these films go to some very deep emotional places. So I'd love to hear about a little bit working with your actors and trying to get them in the right headspace and make sure that they're in the right frame of mind and fulfilling your vision as best as you wrote it, from anywhere from divorce and the loss of a child to mental breakdowns. I would love to hear a little bit about working with your actors and finding them and making sure they were bringing your vision to life. So we'll start again with you, Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer,
with yourself.
I thought kind of long and hard about whether I should play the main character, one of the main characters of my short, and I just felt like I had to. I felt like I didn't really have a choice. I really needed to kind of play this character. And then I brought in a young actress named Ruby Siegel, who is 8 years old. And I, earlier on in my acting career, did a lot of nannying and babysitting, and I babysat Ruby since she was 5 months old. So we had a really close, tight relationship, and we have remained really involved in each other's lives. So, I actually kind of wrote that role with her in mind. And then I asked Jason Ritter to play the other character, who's a dear friend, but also just an incredible actor. So I feel like I kind of set myself up really well by having a little girl who I have a really natural, close relationship with, and then Jason, who just came and brought so much more depth and heart than I could have ever imagined or hoped for. And so we just kind of worked together. We shot the whole thing in one day, but I had Ruby come over to our house because we shot the film in our house. And we just kind of like went through the scenes and got her comfortable and just made sure that she felt like she knew exactly what was going to happen. And then Jason just came in and he was here for maybe 3-4 hours and just crushed it and was just beautiful in every take. He was the easiest person to work with.
Yeah, I was very blown away by Ruby. I'd imagine it's very hard, especially for a young actor, to try and find the balance between, playing the part, but also not giving too much away.
Right. And this was her first film role too. So she was, but she took to it so well. And I told her that she could improvise a little bit and kind of add in her own things and her own touches, which I think it made her feel more comfortable. So we just made it, we also had such a tiny crew, there was like, 5 people here. So it was really easy for her to feel calm and comfortable. So I think she liked it.
That's great. How about with your main actress in Buck, Elegance, and Jovan?
I'll start. Malik Shakur is someone that the producer, who's my partner, Chester Aljournal Gordon, we met at a Thanksgiving party about a year before it was time to shoot. Malik was a musician primarily who wanted to break into acting. And at that time when we met, Jovan hadn't yet written the first draft of the script. Like, I didn't know that Jovan was going to write this story at that time. So then fast forward 6 months, Jovan's writing this story. And now I've spent some more and more time with Malik. And I started to realize that Malik kind of was perfect for this character. So we sent him on a fact-finding mission with Jovan, where some drinks were involved and some conversation was involved, and Jovan agreed. And when we got on set, I think to keep Malik focused, it was kind of interesting because I almost feel like Jovan and I kind of split the duties in half in talking to him. I feel like when I was talking to Malik, I was more concerned with like just getting him to process more instead of act. I think what makes a natural on-screen performance really, really resonate is when performers are really focused. Here's my cat. Performers are really focused. Her name's Consuela. When they're, instead of focusing on delivering lines, they're focusing on experiencing the reality that they're portraying. And I was just trying to keep Malik out of his own head, to not be thinking about like what he looked like doing things, and more so thinking about what it feels like to be in this situation. And I'll let Jovan take it from here.
So Malik was definitely a great discovery. I had been working on this story, for a while, but like I said, it had evolved. But, Malik really fit the sort of profile that I felt really was good for this character. He's very emotional without saying much. His face is very powerful. I think, keeping him present, on set and sort of like just guiding sort of that raw energy, because I think we were going to really dark places. So it was like important to, just keep him like in a good mental state, keep checking in. I tend to, like, dark material. So I really want to make sure that my actors are comfortable. Another great presence on set was Biko. He was the other lead in the film, and he had a lot more experience than Malik, and he's been acting for a long time on stage. And he was a great find as well, and was very open to so many things. That's one thing they had in common, just being very open to not only what the script was saying, but open to changes and improv if needed. Just giving Elegance and I things to work with. Just trying a scene in a different way. I really enjoy when actors are creative like that with me.
Yeah, his performance was just so natural, and I would imagine it's very easy to go very over the top with that kind of subject matter.
It is, and that's one thing about Elegance and I's relationship. It's we're pushing and pulling each other. So it's not that everything was a debate, not at all, but we definitely just inspire each other just with little challenges, and it was exciting to see it get better and better, just that like back and forth.
Yeah. And then Deckel, the actress who plays Anna, speaks so few words, but had my heart from the get-go. What was it like finding her and working with her and getting the performance that we saw just now?
So the film was shot in Ukraine, but I'm not Ukrainian. I'm from Israel originally. And I moved there to make the film, and I don't speak Ukrainian. So it was quite an experience and a challenge. But I tried to see as many actresses as I could, and it was quite difficult because I wanted to see certain type of people, and my casting director just decided to show me completely different kind of people. Anyway, it's a long story. But then the minute that I saw Svetlana, then I knew that I found my Anna, right? But Svetlana is really an actress who doesn't have a lot of experience, and she did some advertisement and some local theater. But otherwise, she didn't play in like, a lot of feature films or anything like that. And then I also auditioned a very experienced actress who was played in like 40 feature films. She was third generation of actresses and actors in her family. She studied in Moscow. She was like royalty of actors. And I showed my DP all the different tapes that I made, and he said, "Oh, we have to take her. She's amazing." And I said, "Yes, she's amazing, but she's not Anna. She was like she was not what I wanted." So then I decided to go with Svetlana in my DP. Almost killed me, really almost killed me. But I told him, no, we're going with my intuition, and we went with it. And of course, I'm super happy about it because it's something that I learned from my first film. Anna is my third film. For my first film and my second film, it's like always go with your intuition, and it will be okay. So yes, I chose her, and then we did a lot of rehearsals and worked together and got to know each other. And another funny side story is that she actually participated in one of these parties, which are depicted in the film. So 20 years ago, or more in the 90s, she's been to a party like this. So the whole thing was quite funny. And it was such a great experience to work with her. And then actually, when the film screened in Cannes, she came to the festival. And it was the first time that she's been on a plane and the first time that she's been outside of Ukraine. So yeah, it's great. And we stay in touch. And I was very, very lucky to meet her and to choose her and to work with her.
That's great. And I also want to congratulate you. I believe you were just nominated for the Israeli Oscars for Anna. So
yes. So today,
very exciting news.
Yeah. Thank
Congratulations. You. And then Sonia with Exam, my heart was pounding so fast watching this movie, and the young actress that you had as the main lead just encapsulated this scenario so well. So I'd love to hear about finding her and getting her to give such an emotional and physical performance as well.
Actually, about my actresses, almost all the main characters, I mean the school's principals and also the teacher, they were my close friends. I'm coming from a theater background, so I did my bachelor in theater. So I was working in theater as an actress for a couple of years before moving to the States. And I knew these guys, and I was familiar with the way that they act. So it was so easy for me to find them. But about the main character, Sadaf, actually, I was looking for a good actress, like 15, 16 years old high schooler, but it was really hard to find a good actress in this age because most of them are not non-actors, Once we were writing with my co-writer, and suddenly she reminded me of her. She used to act in one feature movie like 3 years ago, and suddenly she started talking about that movie and about Sadaf, and I was like, I need to watch that feature again. I watched the feature and we called her. She comes and we start to read the script with her. The first thing that I realized from her character, I found out that she's super smart. And she was kind of those actresses that you don't need to I don't know, challenge her or explain a lot to her, you know. She was getting everything like this. And so it took just maybe 2-3 sessions of rehearsals. We talked about the script and we had some rehearsals for the restroom scene, which was really hard to work on. And I just told her about the about the process of acting that scene step by step. And I was telling her that you do this and then you will do that. And she improvised for me for the first time in my directing room, and I was shocked. And I was like, okay, you're good. We're gonna shoot it like next time on set. So yeah, it was quite easy, like that restroom scene, which was you just told me like physically it was really hard to act. It took like maybe 3 takes. And the third take was the last one. I was like, okay, it's done. So yeah, I was super lucky to find her. Yes.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for joining us and for sharing your films with us. It was such a pleasure talking to you. I wish we could go on for a few more hours, but unfortunately we're out of time. But please come back. We have so much more to see on Eventive and in our carpool theater, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.